everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode on Blitz Sports. Big day today for Blitz Sports. We are excited to welcome to the show Long Island native and starting catcher for the Los Angeles Angels, Logan O'Hoppe. Welcome to the show, Logan.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
So Logan was nice enough to come on to the show. We're going to ask him a few questions here. Basically like what we did with Doc Gooden. Just going to interview him and, mistakes are mistakes. Anything's fine on Blitz Sports, so let's get it rolling. Who was with you the day of the draft, and what was that whole thing like?
The day of the draft was a pretty crazy day, up there as crazy as getting traded. I was with my parents. My sister was there too, and a bunch of family and friends were there. I went on day 3 of the draft, so everyone came over when we assumed that I would go on day 3, and luckily I got the call. It was pretty crazy up until my name was called, but then when my name was called, I'll never forget that, man. That was a pretty good feeling.
And now you mentioned even crazier than being traded. What was that like, and how'd you find out?
Getting traded was that was wild. It was actually my mom's birthday on August 2nd. I was at lunch with my family and a few other people, and I had, similar to draft day, I had an assumption that I was going to get traded, and then my phone rang as soon as we ordered the food, and then I obviously got up from the table and took the call, and I was on the phone for the next hour and 20 minutes after that, just getting calls from different people with the Angels, and didn't eat any of my food that ended up coming, but it was a crazy day, and then I was out to Alabama, the AA affiliate, the next day.
Nice. Yeah, when I got the notification on my phone, I was happy for you because I felt you'd have a bigger opportunity in Los Angeles. Obviously, you have JT Realmuto behind the backstop in Philly, and I know Los Angeles didn't have the greatest catching depth ever, so I was very excited for you. And, you got Ohtani and Trout. Yeah, I got the notification, and then 10 minutes later, I was out at my hitting lesson, and I was talking to
Nice.
the Holy Trinity coach, Dan.
Yeah. All right. Holy Trinity, that's a blast from the past, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was really excited about it. Like you said, I felt like it was a better opportunity, and yeah, we're here now, so I guess it was, and I'm really grateful for it.
And who told you were getting called up to the majors, and what was that whole experience like?
That was a pretty crazy experience, too. My AA manager, Andy Shatzley, had called me and said that I was going to Anaheim. And at first, I was going to go on the taxi squad and not be activated. But then that was on, I think, Thursday, if I remember correctly. And then on Sunday, Phil Nevin, the manager of the Angels at the time, and Perry, our GM, had called me and said that I was going to be activated and playing later that week. And then everything else transpired. So it was it was a pretty crazy couple days, but a week I'll never forget nonetheless.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now, going now onto the debut section, what did you do with the baseball after your first career hit?
I got it put in a shadow box. So one of our trainers, Rick Smith, his name is, he luckily knows somebody that can make a couple shadow boxes for important things, and he's in the right business for it. Obviously, there's a lot of moments in baseball, but I have it in a shadow box. It's with the lineup card from that night that's signed by everybody, the bat that I used for that first hit, the ball, and then my mom, dad, and sister's tickets. So,
Nice.
It's probably the most important piece of memorabilia I own.
Mm-hmm. What was your MLB debut like? Take us through the emotions, kind of what you did before the game. How'd you mentally prepare yourself?
Yeah, I prepared it just as it was any other game. I know it's much different in AA. One thing I tried to emphasize in the minor leagues was tricking myself or acting as if the minor leagues was the big league. So when I got to the big leagues, I felt like I was just playing another game. And obviously there was much more to it because you're in a different uniform, a new team, and obviously bigger stadiums. But I went about it the same day I would of a game when I was in AA. And I feel like I didn't do any more than I needed to prepare. I wasn't over prepared. I felt like I was right where I needed to be. So I didn't change how I went about it.
How does the pitch comm work, and what happens when you call the wrong pitch? What do you do?
Yeah, it's a scary thing when it doesn't work. Luckily now they figured out how to work around it and stop the game to get it all sorted out. But there's a few different ways to do it. It's based kind of off how pitchers want to do it. They want to hear different things, whether it's a number or a pitch or whatever that may be. So the one that's most common, though, is I hit one button, and then that's the pitch, and then the second button's the location. So then that goes in a little device that you see everybody putting their glove over, or in the earpiece that catchers have. And then I hear it, and the pitcher hears it, and then he either nods his head and or shakes, and then we go to another one. But if I hit the wrong pitch, I just hit the one I want, and it overlays what I just hit. So it's an easy fix. But yeah, it's not as you don't have to hit the panic button as much as people think.
So now, do you like the pitch comm, or did you like just calling traditional signs?
At first, I did not like the pitch comm, but I think I was just I was a little stubborn and didn't like change. But now that I've been using it and that I'm used to it, I love it, and I never want to go back because it's really easy, and I think it makes the game go a lot quicker. Yeah,
it definitely seems to easier communication between pitchers. Not having to worry about what a sign is. You don't really have to worry about, all right, does this pitcher want a four for a changeup, sinker? It kind of gets everything more set. And is it hard communicating with pitchers that don't speak English?
Well, mostly, I mean, obviously, catching Shohei, it was different. But most pitchers that don't speak English speak Spanish. So I'm able to speak enough where I can get my point across. And in the big leagues, most of the Latin-born players do speak a good amount of English. So at the lower levels of the minor leagues, it was a little bit tougher. But it was never a challenge for me because I took Spanish 4 years in high school, and I've been around it a lot, so I try to learn the language as much as I can, and I can only speak for myself when I say it hasn't been too much of a challenge.
Yeah, I was actually just about to ask, did you take high school Spanish while you were in school? So, interesting to know.
4 years.
Taking Spanish now in middle school.
All right, nice. Definitely stay on it, man. It makes life much easier when you play pro ball.
What's a day like on a road trip in the MLB? What time do you have to get on the bus, plane, get to the airport? How does that all work?
Yeah, if we're there on just a standard road day, we're in the hotel, so we wake up at the hotel, and usually that's about pretty late because we get back late. So we do get a lot of sleep, or I should say I get a lot of sleep. I can't speak for everybody because I know everyone's routines are different. But yeah, I wake up around 10, 11 o'clock, and then go get myself something to eat, and then come back and usually go on the bus around 12:30, 1 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game, and then get to the field and go about my day, and that's a whole nother discussion on what that day looks like. But then you go about it, and you finish the game, you eat, do what you have to recover and unwind, and then go back to the hotel and rinse and repeat for however many days you're on that road trip.
Do you like the pitch clock, and did the pitchers like it, and was it hard kind of getting used to it during spring training?
It was hard getting used to it during spring training. I think a lot of, like I said before, I was just not liking the change that was going on because it was so different, and it did feel a little rushed. But once I did it, I felt great. Once I got in a rhythm with it, it felt great. So I love it now. I feel like it not only makes the games go quicker, but it also helps me stay off my feet a little bit more. I think that's a part that people don't realize is the catchers get a little bit of a blow there. You're not catching for 2 hours. If a game was 4 hours in the past, you're not catching for 2 hours. You're only in there for about an hour now. So it makes a big difference. Yeah,
when I first heard about the pitch clock, I didn't know how much I liked it because I just feel baseball is a game of the longevity. It's not the, football game or the basketball or hockey game. But when I first started, when I was watching games this year, I'm like, man, this is a whole lot better. Games are going quicker. Pitchers aren't, dilly-dallying on the mound. It's get the ball, get your pitch, and throw it. And even when I thought I was going to a game, I thought I was going to see a big difference. But no, I felt it was just the same as any other ball game. Just pitchers found the rhythm. And I think it also helps managers in a perspective of seeing, does your pitcher have it today or not?
Yeah, I completely agree. So I think it's really good for the game, and hope it stays.
Yeah. Well, now they reduced it down to 18 seconds, which I don't know how much I love that. I think it's just a bit too quick, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I did notice that, but I'll definitely speak on it when I've experienced it firsthand. So I can't just yet.
Mm-hmm. What is it like working with one of the best, if not the best players in baseball, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani? Obviously, you got to watch Mike Trout during his, big time rookie seasons and stuff. And what is that like, man, in the clubhouse and everything?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Those two guys are great people. I don't take my time with them for granted, and they've taught me a lot. And they don't have to do that, but they have, and it's a testament to who they are as people. So lucky to have such good humans in that clubhouse, man.
Yeah, and now we're going into some of the big questions here. What was it like playing at Yankee Stadium, your childhood field?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool experience, man. Obviously, I'd gotten hurt at Yankee Stadium, but I mean, I wouldn't have traded those 3 days for the world. It was pretty incredible. It was different though because I'd been there so much growing up, and I feel like being in the clubhouse and being at the plate was a completely different perspective on a field that I've grown up going to. So it was a really cool view of looking at it, and I'm really grateful I got that chance to do so.
Yeah, and what was it just like walking onto that field? The Yankee Stadium grass, the dirt. Just honestly, just seeing the bleachers from a field level perspective, or the short porch, the judges' chambers. Did you just take a second and just look around the stadium and just looking at it from an on-field perspective?
I did get to, yes. I had early work that day, and I was able to go out with Drew Butera, our catching coach at the time, and it was really cool. I just stood at the plate and looked around and couldn't help to think, wow, all the time that it took to get there, and it was a moment I didn't take for granted. But everything does look bigger from the field, and it was, again, another different but very cool perspective I got to see.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the people that really helped you through the journey of making the MLB, and even still while you're in the MLB?
My parents are the first people that come to mind. I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at now anywhere, on or off the field, without them. I'd be here for quite a while if I listed everybody. They know who they are, but mom and dad are the two biggest, and forever grateful to have such great parents, and anyone that knows them knows that I got two good ones, so I'm very lucky.
Have you ever been to Cooperstown to play baseball, or even just to go to the Hall of Fame? And if you did, what are some of your favorite memories of Cooperstown?
Yeah, I've been to both. I've been there for both. So I played when I was 12, and then I've been there for the Hall of Fame as well. So playing there was super cool at the time, being 12, and you get to sleep in that, I think the barracks they call it.
Yeah.
So that was a cool experience to get to do that for the first time, being that young and trading the pins. I don't know if they still do that now.
Yep, they do. We're doing it. I'm actually going to Cooperstown this year, and yeah, we're trading pins there, and yeah, it's gonna be fun.
All right, awesome. There's an ice cream place too. I gotta get you the name of it, but it's pretty phenomenal. It's like Penguin ice cream maybe up there. So I don't know if it's still going on up there, but I'll get you the name of it. And,
gotta check it out.
That's definitely a good spot too. But the Hall of Fame is awesome too. I've been there for it as well, so I've enjoyed it a lot.
See, do you get any special perks as a player? I feel like I've heard some rumors about some players going into some confidential areas. As an MLB player, do you know if you get any perks?
I've heard that you do. I haven't been up there to see, but I do plan on getting up there in the next month or two to see if that's true. So I'll have to circle back with you on that and let you know. All
right. What were some of your favorite memories of playing baseball when you were a kid? Like going to Cooperstown or travel ball? As a kid, what were some of your favorite memories?
Yeah, Cooperstown was a big one. In high school, the Perfect Game tournaments in Georgia were always a fun week to go down there and hang out with the buddies. Actually, most of my closest friends now are from that team when we were, 13, 14 years old. So those memories come to mind, and then my senior year of high school stands out the most because that was the the last kind of pure moment or year of baseball in my life. It was just the boys hanging out and playing. So after that, it became a job. But I still love it the same. Don't get me wrong. But that year especially
it's just
was fun.
different.
And we won too, which obviously
that's
adds
nice.
an exclamation point to it.
Yeah, obviously, MLB, that's a job, but it's a very lovable job. But nothing will ever beat just playing ball as a kid. You never know what game's going to be your last, but you always play it like it's your last.
No doubt. I love every bit of it, even now when it is a job.
I've heard some interviews where you have shared that Derek Jeter was your favorite player growing up. Why was he your favorite player, and have you met him before?
So he's still my favorite player. Now I know he's retired. But, yeah, just how he went about his work. My parents pointed to him when I was younger to pave the path and show me how to do things. And that's stuck with me even in my adult life now. I watch him on how he goes about things and his demeanor and how he handles different things. So, I look up to him quite a bit. You're going to have to read that second part of that question to me. I forgot. Sorry about that.
Have you met him before?
I haven't. That was it. I have not met him before.
Wow.
He did sign something for me when I was much younger, but it was just in passing, so I don't think he remembers it. So hopefully I do get to meet him here one day soon.
As a child, you had a crazy Yankee Stadium experience where you caught a ball on national television and threw it back. Do you have any regrets of throwing that ball back on the field?
Not one single regret. I think I would have regretted if I kept the ball. So, it's definitely a moment I won't forget.
Yeah, I saw that highlight. Dude, you chucked that ball. That ball landed way past Didi Gregorius, who was maybe a quarter of the way out in the outfield. That was a very far throw.
I appreciate it, man. I was a little flat-footed and not warmed up at all. I was a little nervous that everything would stay intact, but luckily it did.
Coming back from one of my pitching lessons, I heard you on an interview about a locker you had in your basement. Can you tell the listeners about the locker and where that locker is today?
Yeah, I didn't have a set wood locker, but what I did was I put bookshelves together, and I had my little cubbies and my little rack to hang my clothes on, and I would come home from school every day, go in the basement, and get change in my locker, and then go out and hit in our cage in our backyard. So the pieces of the locker are still in the basement, but it's not as put together anymore. Now it's just flooded with all the stuff I've been fortunate enough to get over the years from playing so much baseball. But that is a true story, and I used to try to live out the dream even when it wasn't reality. But here we are, and I don't take any locker I have for granted.
What's a feeling like after you hit a home run? How do you just take it all in, just jogging around those bases? What is that whole thing like? The fans all getting up cheering, the flames in Angel Stadium. What is that like?
It's pretty out of body, man. It's my favorite thing to do is hit homers, and it's a lot of fun. It's definitely each homer I don't forget it, and I want more of that feeling that I get when I hit them. So you feel pretty light on your feet. It's pretty cool. And
this is more of a personal question for me. I'm a huge card collector myself. I actually pulled one of your cards a few days ago.
Okay.
Are you a card collector? Do you collect your cards?
I am not. I've accumulated a few in the past few months just from simply having a bunch out there. But no, I don't collect by any means. But I do think it's a pretty interesting hobby that people take part in.
Yeah. And how pumped are you? We obviously know Nevin unfortunately got fired, but how pumped are you to have Ron Washington as your manager?
I'm really excited. I've talked to a lot of people about him, and this is before he was even the manager or got hired as the manager, and I have yet to hear one bad thing about him. So everyone has said great things and really positive reviews. And then I was lucky enough to talk to him last week, and all those reviews just rang true, and he was pretty incredible. And if I need any more reason to be excited about the year coming up, then I got it after talking to him.
Yeah, I saw some of his interviews. He's like, I'm a leader. I was born to lead a team. He just sounds like such an awesome guy to be around. I'm very pumped for you and the Angels. And now this is going to probably be our last question of the day. What moment in your Major League career made you feel like a kid again?
This question I've been a little hung up about, man. I've been thinking about it for a while. I would say going out at Yankee Stadium definitely made me feel like a kid again. But if I'm going to be honest with you, man, it's every at-bat. There hasn't been one at-bat yet where I've stood there and taken for granted where I'm standing. So every night I feel like a kid, and just really grateful to be in the spot that I am now. Yeah,
that's awesome. And, lastly, do you have any questions for me, the listeners, anything?
Yeah, man, you're pretty incredible. This has been an awesome interview. I've had a lot of fun, man. What are your goals for the future, man?
Obviously, goal number 1 is to make it to the majors, but, I'd love to go into sports broadcasting. Obviously I got the podcast already. I'd like to commentate games, be an analyst, something like that. Maybe even manage a team. I got some goals, like, being a commentator, managing a team, being a player.
Well, you're pretty good at it already, and if you need anything from me, you let me know, all right?
All right, man. So, everyone, thank you, Logan, for coming on the show. Don't forget to follow me at Blitz Sports with MJL24 on Instagram. Thank you for listening to Blitz Sports.